What's up, everyone? Welcome to Offshoot. My name is Talon.
And I'm Mike, last line of defense.
And we're finally doing a podcast together.
Stoked, man.
Yeah, we've talked about this for a while. I've talked about it on video. You've talked about it on your own videos. And we're doing it. This is the very first one. So welcome. Subscribe, hit like, all that good stuff.
Yeah, we'll be posting this on YouTube. So if you feel like interacting, you can over there. We made an Instagram account.
Yep.
Offshoot Pod. Probably Facebook and yeah.
You'll get some updates there. We'll probably ask topic questions and kind of poll you guys over there. It's just a little bit easier to do from our phones, but yeah, we're doing it now.
Yeah. And I think if you're listening to this, you probably already know at least one of us, but we primarily create content on YouTube under Last Line of Defense and
Talon. Yeah. I guess we should intro ourselves. So we are content creators. We've done a lot of stuff in the past, but now our full-time gig is we both have YouTube channels. We do a lot of very similar content, kind of gear prepping, overlanding. A lot. I just tell people vehicle-based content. What do you tell people?
I don't even know, man. General outdoors and preparedness stuff.
Yeah. Nothing's off limits for our channels is basically what it comes down to.
Yeah, I think my channel motto, on my YouTube background, is gear and good times.
Yeah, and mine is the outdoor adventure culture. So, outdoor adventure.
There it is.
Gear
we
vehicles.
are currently in the outdoors on an adventure in a freaking hurricane, it feels like.
Yeah, so you guys who are listening can probably hear a little bit of background noise with the wind. You guys who are watching can see that Mike and I are sitting in a huge adventure vehicle from Storyteller Overland.
Storyteller Overland, thanks for sponsoring this podcast.
Yeah, thank you guys very much.
They didn't, but if you want to sponsor this podcast, hit us up.
Reach out. We'll have to make email accounts and stuff too. Get real official.
Yeah, so in this podcast, we'll talk a little backstory on kind of what led us here. And then literally the name, we actually just figured out the name of the podcast 15 minutes ago.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know, we go on a lot of tangential. And then Tom's like, how about Offshoot? It's kind of a tangent, but kind of off-roady.
Yeah, off-roady. We didn't want to make it something super generic, the Mountains Are Calling podcast.
Yeah.
Sorry if anyone has, that's
your
podcast.
Cool. That's cool. Yeah, the
Mountains
Mountains Are Calling. I must podcast.
I like having kind of double meanings to naming things. So yeah.
But yeah, just came up with a name, just got the Instagram account. And yeah, so the podcast, sometimes I think future episodes will have guests here and there. A lot of it'll be Talon and myself. We'll probably, I bet half these are going to be filmed literally out on a mountain on some camping trip or something.
Yeah, that would be ideal. I mean, Mike's schedule and my schedule, they don't overlap very often. I mean, we make an effort to hang out and shoot videos together, and we're going to have to make even more of an effort to make this thing possible. But we camp enough that I feel like if we just bring a mobile podcasting kit like you guys are seeing and hearing right now, sounds pretty good, and we can do it kind of whenever.
Yeah, so it'll be a fun podcast. You have a studio, I have a studio. We'll make it work. We're going to try and do one. We're going to do one every week. We're going to try.
I'm down.
We're going to do it.
I mean, I got a trip coming up in 2 weeks, so we're going to have to stack the content until then.
We'll do it most weeks.
Most weeks.
Yeah.
Time frame, I mean, we could sit here and talk for hours and hours like we do around a campfire, which is where this stemmed from, by the way. But I think hour-long podcast is a good thing, but who knows? We'll just go on our tangent offshoots.
Yeah, 1 to 3 hours, I would say probably. Yeah, so we go camping a lot. We hang out. We're friends in real life here in Colorado. And yeah, half the time we're sitting around a campfire talking. And at the end of talking for 2 hours, we're like, dude, that would have been a pretty sweet podcast.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even count how many times we've both said that, damn, we should have been recording all of this. We find it interesting, but also it's I bet other people out there would find these talks kind of interesting.
Yeah, some people might not, but hopefully you do.
Yeah.
And yeah, sometimes we'll try and stay on topic. I think, current events or what, one thing, Talon and I are both thinking about getting a new Tacoma. So, maybe when we get one, if we do, we'll talk about that, relatively recent. So I think we'll have some kind of topical podcast, but a lot of just banter.
I think that's the first offshoot we go on right now.
Yeah.
New Tacoma.
New Tacoma.
So the gas models are out. We've both seen them in person. We've seen them at Overland Expos. I saw a few at SEMA. The hybrids aren't quite out yet. There's no build sheets, no pricing or anything, but I know where my head's at. I've been bouncing back and forth for like a year now. Where's your head at?
Like whether I like them or not? Or whether I'm going to get one or not, or what?
I'm sure people want to know what's your opinion on them. This is a perfect long form for it. So what do you think about them? Do you think you're going to get one? What's that going to look like?
Yeah, I guess it could be its own podcast.
This could be the topic for 3 hours.
The 2024 Tacoma. Yeah, there's a lot to talk about. A lot of people shy away from first model year vehicles. I don't. My current 3rd gen Tacoma was first model year, it's a 2016. I got actually a first model year, whatever gen, RAV4. I don't follow RAV4s that closely, but it was the first model year of the current model. I got first model year Tundra. I have a first model year LX570. Anyway, I'm not against first model years. I'm kind of an early adopter. So that fear I don't have a lot of.
Yeah, and that fear you're talking about is a lot of people will say, oh, don't get the first gen of everything or of anything because you're going to run into issues, reliability, this and that. But when it comes to specifically, we're talking about Toyota and Lexus, the reliability, obviously, that's what they're known for. And I am also in agreement with you. I don't want to shy away from first model stuff anymore. I came to the Tacoma party way late, obviously. So you had yours.
What do you got? Is yours a 21?
It's a 21, yeah.
Yeah.
So you had yours at the very early conception of the 3rd gen, the first model, and you've done so much cool shit with it. So that being said, I want to get on the 2024 Tacoma train early because I'm not afraid of the first gen of anything, like you said, and it will just give me more longevity with the truck. It can go through evolutions of stock, built, super built, and then maybe change up components to do whatever I want to do with the truck, and I don't have to replace the vehicle every freaking year.
Yeah, it's kind of it financially makes sense because I got a 2016 Tacoma. I've had that for 8 years. It's largely the same as a 2022, 2023.
And it's still relevant. It's almost identical. The interior went through a new screen change. But
yeah, so I feel like I got my money's worth out of it because I hate, some people like buying the last model year of a vehicle because that's when theoretically the maximum amount of bugs are worked out. But also, most cases, the value drops a lot once the next gen comes out. So I've kind of kept my value in that gen. I don't know, that's how I justify it to myself, maybe.
Yeah, I think that makes total sense because I'm obviously in the same boat. I think I would like to get on the Tacoma, the new Tacoma early. It will probably happen. I will probably end up selling my 3rd gen. Love the truck, but it doesn't make sense having a bunch of vehicles like that. I just don't have the space for it. So
the same vehicle too, yeah.
Yeah, the same vehicle. That also brings up the idea of the Tundra, which went into the 3rd gen in 2020, I believe.
20. I'm having a brain fart. I think mine's a 22. I think my Tundra is a 22.
And that's okay. So it was more recent than I thought. So that makes me think I posted a video talking about, I think I might get the new Tacoma, and everyone's like, get a Tundra, 200 plus comments.
The value proposition is there with the new pricing coming out of the Tacoma.
Yeah.
That's just kind of come out now. Tacoma's shot up a ton in price. And I got my pretty well optioned Tundra TRD, limited TRD off-road. And that was back in the craziness, and there will be some haters never pay a markup. But you had to pay a markup pretty much everywhere. So I paid a markup. With my markup, Tundra out the door was $65K, which was a lot, but
yeah,
there are going to be a lot of Tacomas that are that price now.
I feel like when it comes to the hybrid, I hope this isn't the case, but I'm thinking that they're all going to be 60 plus.
Yeah, because I think the TRD off-road non-hybrids are into the 50s right now.
Yeah.
And then you've got to add whatever premium package, electronics, sway bar disconnect, hybrid. that's into the 60s, I feel like.
Yeah, unfortunately, like I bought my truck new in 21 Axis cab, and I think I paid 41 ish like out the door, which
I paid 36.
36
2016.
Well, yeah, 16.
Yeah.
So talking like a bunch of years difference
Inflation. There, Thanks, Obama.
It's so bad. It's so freaking bad.
Inflation's bad. Yeah, I've received quite a few comments, people asking like, what do you think about a lot of just like the economy, the used car economy, the new car economy. What do you think about Toyota pricing? I think it sucks, man. I'm in the same boat as everyone else. Like, why is everything getting so expensive? I have no power to change it, though. So I don't like to push people into consumerism. You do you. You know your own finances. Do you need a new 2024 Tacoma? You absolutely do not until Toyota starts sponsoring this podcast. Then maybe you do. Yeah. But for now, no. But while we're on the topic, some things that I'm looking forward to on the 24 Tacoma, and Talon and I are kind of in a weird spot where this is literally our job. It's not our job to get a 24 Tacoma, but a lot of people want to see it. So, and I've had my third gen for 8 years now.
Yeah, and I'm gonna cut you off quick and say like, if you have a third gen Tacoma, especially like if you followed Mike for a while, you kind of built up your truck, you love the truck. I love my truck. You love your current truck. Don't sell the truck just to get the newest, latest, greatest thing. Like same thing with phones. People who update their iPhone every year, like in theory, I should because I use it for business all the time. But I don't care about having the latest and greatest.
Yeah.
So
if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah. So getting a new 2024 Tacoma for me and for you too, it's really like a business decision. I want to get in while it's the new gen, and then hopefully keep that truck until they release a fourth gen. Yeah. Fifth gen until then, which could be 10 years.
Yeah. Maybe if it's the same record, 8-year cycle roughly. But previously it's been longer, like 10, like the Forerunners in like a 13-year cycle or something crazy.
Yeah, which is crazy. And like, I can't imagine Toyota is going to change it that much. Like you look at your 16 and look at even a 2024 third gen Tacoma, which they are selling now. Mm-hmm. It's like identical. So
yeah, not much has changed. Having said that, there are some things that I'm looking forward to. That it's certainly a better truck. I think the main question is, will it be as reliable? To be seen. Nobody knows. Toyota has a lot of turbo vehicles in a lot of their lineup in a lot of the world. They know turbos pretty well, so I'm guessing it'll be okay, but who knows? Yeah, a lot of people are concerned with the drivetrain, and I totally get it too. Like I'm not very concerned because I'm probably like I don't mind being the guinea pig for something like this. Like maybe I buy the truck and maybe it sucks. It's still an investment for me because I'm going to be able to say, hey, I bought the new, say I get a TRD Pro Tacoma. I bought this so you don't have to. Because look at all these issues that I'm having. You can thank us for taking the gamble on the new truck and letting you know if it breaks, I guess. I hope it's sick, though, and I hope I do get the truck. I hope I have a ton of fun with it. But, yeah, it's like I'm cool with being the guinea pig on a new drivetrain. But like you said, Toyota's been making turbo cars for years and years. Yeah, and Toyota's super famous for using the same motors, the same drivetrain. Now it's on that global platform. They have a lot of the suspension and a lot of the frame stuff sorted on, it being on every other truck platform out there. So, I mean, I think it's going to be pretty dialed. So, is it more expensive than I feel like it should be? Yeah, it is. 100%. Should you keep your third gen if you're having no issues with it? I think so, yeah. But there are some things to look forward to. So, especially with the hybrid option, you have way more power. That thing's putting out almost numbers of non-hybrid Tundra. I have a non-hybrid Tundra on 37s, and it scoots. No gearing, 37s. Bumpers, winch, truck bed cover. I feel like there's no lack of power. So when I'm thinking about, a Tacoma, lighter weight, smaller truck, nearly the same, or I don't know the numbers exactly, but putting out similar numbers to the Tundra, I'm thinking 37s, baby. right off the get-go.
You think? See, that's where a lot of, like, I think we saw a comment earlier. People say, like, oh, you guys do the same thing. We do, but in different styles. You're going to jump maybe to 37s right out the gate.
I mean, I don't even know if I'm getting a truck. I think I probably will. Actually, let's just go there. I may get a truck. I have looked at the configurators. I have kind of compared like how I would spec it. Will I get the Trail Hunter, the Pro, the Off-Road, the Sport, whatever? I think I would do the same as I did with my current gen Tundra, and that's TRD Off-Road. I'll get some of the options. I want the bigger screen. I want a heated steering wheel, and I want electric sway bar disconnect. So those are kind of the main things I want out of a truck. The Pro's cool, but as we all do, I'll probably rip out most of the stuff that makes it a Pro anyway. So I'm probably leaning towards TRD Off-Road, optioned up with the hybrid.
And that's the smart way to do it. That's how most people towards the end of the third gen were buying them, because like you said, you don't need the Pro. You're going to pull off the suspension and all of that. I, however, would do it differently this time around, because I think if this were to happen, which it might, I honestly really don't know. I'm not like hiding anything from you guys, but if I do it, I think I would do the TRD Pro and drive the truck stock-ish for a little while. Do a Diamondback cover, throw a tent on there, use it for camping, but I want the truck to be nice to drive. Like my truck, it's not great to drive.
Yeah.
It's great off-road, but it's not like I don't want to scoot around town in it. So I kind of want like the stock plus vehicle. So a Pro comes with good suspension. I can drive it stock. I can show people like, hey, you don't need $10,000 worth of suspension to come to these cool places that we like to frequent and camp.
You don't need it.
Yeah.
You don't need it. Moral of the story, you don't need it.
You don't need it. You can go out there and buy a first gen Tacoma and do the same thing that we're doing. You can sleep in a ground tent. You don't need to have anything on the truck. It could be stock, and you could do most of what you see us do.
Yeah, but we do functional modifications to the truck, so that is another component. We have relationships with various brands that are making various aftermarket components, so if we get in early, we help prototype a lot of this stuff. I prototyped some of the Tundra bumpers, some of the suspension. I did a lot of early adopting on that kind of stuff and gave a lot of user feedback to help improve products. Not looking for a pat on the back. So that's kind of another thing that in our situation, we have the hashtag blessedness to be able to do that. So it is giving back in a sense. I'm not going to be like, oh, we're doing this for you necessarily. But a lot of it is, because if I didn't have full disclosure, if I didn't have a YouTube channel, I wasn't working with these companies to develop products, and it wasn't kind of my job, there's no way in hell I would get a 2024 Tacoma.
No.
My 23 Tacoma does everything I need it to do. So that's full disclosure. But because of our job, because of what we do, anyway, for me, I'm not talking for Talon, but kind of for me, that's why I'm definitely leaning towards 24 Tacoma.
We're in the same boat there. And like I said, if I were to get a 24 Tacoma, unfortunately, I probably would get rid of my third gen. And like I said, it's just a business decision. It's not like I'm not saying this is what you should do. Also, if you have a third gen, definitely don't get a new gas model fourth gen. There's no reason for that at all.
Yeah, a lot of the tests are out now that they're basically comparing just the Turbo 4 to the 6, and it's pretty close.
Yeah.
Little better gas mileage.
If you want to get into a Tacoma, like you really love the truck and you don't have a truck currently, then maybe the gas model fits your budget. Sure, I would choose, if I had no truck, I would probably choose the newest model over the third gen. You could probably get the third gen cheaper though.
Just get a second gen though.
Yeah, just get a Prius and lift it.
A second gen has arguably a better motor. And
I think they look better too.
A lot of similarities to the third gen. But anyway, all that to say, I don't have a third gen. I am planning right now to get, I have a third gen. I don't have a fourth gen. I'm planning to get a fourth gen. And I too will probably sell my third gen.
Yeah, and that'll be a sad day, but it'll kind of be the equivalent of me selling the old Sat van.
Yeah.
Like, dude, that was hard.
Yeah.
I loved that van. I did so much with it, and you've done so much in your third gen Tacoma.
Yeah, I've had people be like, you can't sell. That's the only reason that anyone follows you on YouTube. Certainly people found me from my third gen, but even now, if I post a Tacoma video, it's not the best performing video on my people watch my channel for all kinds of stuff now, but it is not lost on me that truck played a role in my channel. I've had it for 8 years. I've been doing YouTube for, are we going? Yeah, we're making sure camera's on. I've been doing YouTube for like 9 or 10 years. So to say that it's been a big part of the channel, yeah, it has been, because I've owned it for the duration of doing YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, whoa, it is so windy out there.
I mean, the wind is like shooketh this 13,000 pound truck, or however heavy
whatever it is. Yeah, I mean, we're both basically on the same page there. I was gonna say I would probably sell my third gen if I happen to throw a Tundra into the mix, because that's what a lot of my audience wants to see.
Yeah, I saw it. Like when you were talking about a new vehicle, like you got more people saying Tundra than new Tacoma.
Yeah, and I think that's because like there isn't a huge, like there's a ton of Tundra owners out there, but I don't think there's a huge market of, I guess I should say, creators that are going out and doing overlandy type of stuff. Like you've camped in yours a few times, but
yeah, mine's really more the daily driver.
Yeah. Me. So like say if I were to throw a Tundra into the mix, I would definitely have to sell the third gen, and then I would have to build the trucks differently. Like,
yeah, what would it be if you, in a theoretical world where you had a new Tacoma and a new Tundra, what would those builds be for?
I think like going into this year, I want my vehicles to be OEM plus. So kind of like the Supra. Like the Supra looks crazy on the outside, but I could turn it back to stock pretty quickly. It's super functional. It's reliable. It's very quick. It does everything that I want to do. It's dailyable. It's kind of like a jack of all trades. So definitely out of the gate, whether it's Tundra or Tacoma, I wouldn't want to go crazy with it. Like I know what you said, like I'm going to throw a Tacoma on 37s. That would
I mean, I don't know. know.
This is all hypothetical, people. We're just spitballing here.
I just meant, sorry. Hold your thought. I just meant the Tundra spins the 37 so effortlessly. Like I think the third gen or the fourth gen Tacoma hybrid will as well.
Yeah, I think so too. So I would go OEM plus. Like I would set the Tundra up in a way that I would set up both trucks pretty similar, honestly. Diamondback, tent, camp gear in the bed, and maybe wheels, tires, probably some lighting, some like very basic, what I would consider like essentials for it. I don't necessarily.
What would you get? Would you get double cab long bed or double cab 6.5 bed, or the Crew Max 5.5 or the Crew Max 6.5 bed?
I would do for the Tundra.
Yeah,
double cab long. Well, what is it? Double cab 6.7.
Yeah, I get those things mixed up. They call the small, like they call the Tacoma the access cab, and then the crew cab, and then the Tundra. Yeah, I think it's Crew Max and double cab.
But are there two bed options for, like, what is your Tundra? You have a double cab 6.7 foot bed?
Yeah.
Do they make a 6.5 in that too?
No, I just say 6.5. I think it's 6.7. So they basically make the 5.5 and then the 6.5 roughly bed.
So I think I would get probably the same truck that you have. I think double cab 6.7.
You can't get double cab short bed. So you can only get double cab long bed, and you can even get double cab 8-foot bed.
I don't want that. So the reason I would do, actually, here's another thing too. If I were to get both a Tacoma and Tundra, sell the third gen, that would kind of make sense, because then I could put the Kimbo in a double cab long bed. Well, 6.7, whatever. I think that's considered the long bed for the Tacoma.
It might be 6'8"
or Tundra
inches or something. But I love my Tundra. It's a very good truck. I like the interior. I like how it drives. I have a buddy that has the last year, I think 21 TRD Pro Tundra double cab. So same config as mine on 35s. The back seat shrunk in the new ones, unfortunately, for both crew max and double cab. But it feels much faster, much more powerful than the previous 5.7.
Yeah,
V8.
I believe that. So here's another thing, thinking about all this like models and stuff. For Tundra, it would be cool to do like OEM Plus and also be able to haul around the Kimbo, which would haul it way better than my Tacoma. I set up the Tacoma and built it specifically to do that. I bought my Tacoma to get a Kimbo. Like the Kimbo was the first thought, and then I was like, okay, Tacoma makes sense because I live in Colorado now, and the camper was designed for the second gen Tacoma ticket.
Yeah, I remember that. You were thinking like Ranger maybe and some other options at the time.
Yeah, and then I was like, I guess it just makes sense to go Tacoma. But anyway, I would do OEM Plus on the TRD Pro Tacoma as well because, like I said, it would be cool to show basic functionality and where you can go with a stock truck, but also the resale value. If I don't rip it apart, cut the bed sides, and do everything, which, to be honest, I probably would end up doing as much as I don't want to do that. A TRD Pro Tacoma is going to be worth more in the long run than SR5, say.
Yeah. I really like an OEM Plus build stage. It's one of my favorites. Usually for both the Tacoma and the Tundra, I didn't just take a stock truck and boom, it was full armor, full lift, full size tires. That was an evolution. The Tacoma was a much slower evolution. It was really an evolution like I think most people should do. And that's like very purpose built. You start with whatever wheels and tires, and then you're like, I need a little more ground clearance. You do oh man, I'm really scraping a lot. I get sliders. Oh, I really need a winch, so I need a front bumper. Or a lot of the times, in previous of my builds, even before the Tacoma, I just waited until I like ripped a bumper off wheeling. I was like, well, now it's time.
time to upgrade.
Now it's time to get a steel bumper. So that's been kind of the evolution. But my favorite stage is kind of like what you're talking about, which is usually a small lift, slightly oversized tires, usually something, truck like a Diamondback cover or something. Is very functional, still feels very nimble, like looks good, but everything just works like it should.
That's the main thing. A truck functioning the way that it should, because once you get deep into the mod hole, stuff is going to start I'll say like outperforming other parts, which cause weak points and brakes and things like that. So
sometimes you got to give up sensors or whatever. Like I know the bumper manufacturers are now pushing the envelope more of like, okay, we're going to integrate all the blind spot monitors. We're going to integrate everything into it. But you lose some functionality for sure. You lose some gas mileage. You lose some speed. You lose some handling characteristics. So my favorite is probably the OEM Plus.
Yeah, and like it's hard for people that do what we do to kind of keep a vehicle like that, like at that level. Because I mean, you look at the builds that I've done. I just did the most recent one, I guess, would be either the Supra or the Storyteller. The Storyteller build for me was very quick. I'm coming up on a year of ownership of that thing.
Yeah, man.
And it is decked out. The reason for that is because I had previously lived in my old van. So jumping into the build of a new van, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I knew what components I wanted to go with. I know what companies I wanted to work with. And I did the same thing with my Tacoma. I knew what I wanted to do with the truck, and I've had experience off-roading and overlanding and stuff. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to go all out. I don't want to do that this time.
See, I'm almost the opposite, to where like I actually, a lot of people think I just buy and sell vehicles all the time. But as is stated with my Tacoma, I've had it for 8 years. I am going to keep, if I am an early adopter and I get a 24 Tacoma, I'm going to keep it for a long time. And I know I'm going to get to this other stage eventually. So I'm kind of like, maybe I just cut through all the crap and just jump straight to it. So yeah, if we do both get 24 Tacomas, they will be different, because I think I'm just gonna go all in and you're gonna be a slow build.
I'm going to try everything in my power to be a slow build. So kind of on the business side of things too, when you've been doing what we've been doing for a long time, and especially when you get a new vehicle, companies come out of the woodwork and they're like, hey, we make this bed slide and we make lights. We want you to put it on your truck and test it out. I mean, we still get emails like that every single day, and I'm basically if this all happens again, all hypothetical, I want to keep it. I want to keep the builds in a way that it's favorable for me. Obviously, it's my vehicle. I want to make it how I want it, but also I want to stay true and like honest with the companies that support me and what I do. So say I get a new Tacoma, hopefully a company like C4, who's been supporting my videos for a while, hopefully they make a bumper for it. I want to give them like first dibs at, yeah, I want to run your product anyway. I want to test it for you. Mm-hmm. So I'm basically going to try to only work with like sponsors and people who actually support what I do, rather than just taking product for free just to test it out.
Yeah.
We've tested out so much product. I know at this point what I like and don't like. That just reminds me of like EDC gear.
Yeah, exactly.
Why don't you make another EDC video? And I'm like, dude, I would, but I know what I like and I carry the same stuff all the time.
Yeah. Like if I were to lay out my build exactly, I wouldn't need years of trial and error and this and that. And this is how I like to use a truck on my trips. And these are the trails I encounter and this. I already know. So I that's kind of how I feel like I could just jump straight to it.
Yeah, and I mean, it would be super rad. The thing with a new gen, though, is that also you're going to have to wait for the aftermarket to be there. But
yeah,
that will like allow you to kind of ease into the build a little bit.
Yeah, that's kind of the nice thing about the hybrid, though, because the non-hybrids will be out for a while.
Very true.
So we'll let some of you other suckers work out some of the kinks.
Go test stuff and break stuff so we know what will work and what doesn't work if we get trucks.
Yeah, but I do think having said all that, talking a lot about the Tacoma, obviously, but also encouraging you guys to just keep what you have or not, certainly don't spend more than you can. I am excited about it. I mean, I think it looks good. It's like a mini Tundra. I think they nailed a lot of the stuff. Having said that, I think the Rangers are good. I think the Canyons and the Colorados are good. I have a very large Toyota following. I like Toyotas. I have a lot of Toyotas. I'm not getting paid to say Toyota. But I do like some of the other trucks. So I've gotten some questions of why don't you get a Ranger or why don't you get a Colorado or what? And some of that is honestly just I know that a lot of my audience would not like that. Would I get some new followers or subscribers? Would I open up a new market for new people? Yeah, I probably would. But the main reason, again, other than aftermarket support and reliability, which are the main reasons, are that it's kind of for the subscribers of the channel. I've built a lot of following in the Toyota community, so they want to see Toyotas. And I have had great luck with Toyotas.
And you want to stay true to yourself too. Like, if there was a bunch of people, like say I made that video in the beginning of the year and I was like, oh, I'm thinking about the new Tacoma. If I got 250 comments that said, oh, we want to see you in a Jeep Wrangler, I would be like, no. Like, why are you guys even saying that?
I was tempted to get a Bronco, though, for a while.
The Broncos did look pretty good. But if they said, oh, get a Jeep, I would be like, just because I like Jeeps. I think they're great off-road, but that's not what I want. Yeah. So when people are like, you should get a Tundra instead, that clicks with me. And I'm like, I could see myself driving one of those. Mm-hmm. So like, I'm still staying true to myself. Like, I'm not just buying something because the audience wants to see it. Like,
I could see myself in a GT3 RS.
If you guys all in the comments say you guys should buy GT3 RSs,
can't afford it. Sorry,
that clicks with me. But yeah, I'm too poor for that.
Yeah, but
maybe we can steal this truck and sell it, and then we can each buy them. Price of this probably equals about,
I don't know. No, maybe 1.2.
Yeah,
1.2.
1.5 GT3 RSs.
Yeah, we do like cars though. I do like cars. We should do some stuff. Talon and I. So Talon, if you don't know, Talon has MK5 Supra.
And Mike, after seeing that, was like, okay, it's time we do car stuff. And he went out and bought his dream car, a GTR.
Yeah, I have an R35 GTR. funny story. I've talked about this on my channel a little bit, but I am a dad now. I'm a family man, and I wanted a fast car. I've always had fast cars. I've always liked them. You know, I always kind of bounce back and forth between trucks and SUVs and cars and motorcycles, but I like going fast. Was like, the thing that checks all the boxes is a Golf R. 4 doors, functional, all-wheel drive, good in the snow, good for the family, still kind of fun. And Ashley, my wife, she doesn't know anything about cars, but I was kind of talking to her, and she's like, "Oh, that sounds cool." Like, sounds like I was describing it to her, and she thought it sounded like a cool car. There was one driving on the road. I was like, "Oh, that's it. That's the car I want to get."
Ugly.
And she was like, "What?" She's like, "You can get any car. That's the car?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, I would get a GTR if I could get any car." And so Ashley made me get a GTR.
Yeah, Ashley made him get a GTR.
My wife made me get a GTR.
So then you bought the GTR and then bought a Golf R anyway.
Yeah. I wasn't really using the GTR in a daily driving fashion because it is not. It's kind of functional. It's more functional than the Supra, honestly.
Yeah, more functional than the Supra, but being a family man, like, definitely not as dailyable.
Yeah.
The Supra for me is dailyable because it's just me and my Ashley.
Yeah.
I always think that's funny too. You guys have probably heard us say that in videos, but Mike is married to an Ashley, and my girlfriend for the longest time, her name is Ashley.
And they're both Ashley Nichols as well.
Yeah, both Ashley
Chime
Nichols.
in all the Ashleys and Ashley Nichols that you know.
My Ashley is Ashlee, and yours is EY.
EY.
A little spicy on the spelling. So yeah,
cars. We like cars.
The Supra for me is dailyable because it's just me and my Ashley, and I don't need, like, the trunk space is honestly pretty good. It's not slammed to the ground, so I can drive it pretty much anywhere. But in Colorado, it's been snowing a bunch, so it's like not the best in the winter. But I got a van and a truck for that. So.
Funny enough, it feels slammed to the ground compared to the GTR, though.
It's definitely, I think it's lower.
Like, the GTR feels much more like I'm driving an Altima. Yeah. After, like, your car feels like, wow, I'm in a sports car.
You're sitting on the ground. It's like that's true. Like, your seating position is up a little bit higher.
Yeah, it's like visibility is great. Like, it just feels like I'm in a car, kind of.
The Supra is like you're sitting down on the ground. Your legs are almost completely straight out in front of you.
Yeah,
it's
you like feel like you're in like a Lotus or something. It's a small, low car.
It's kind of deceptive. Like, it's hard to show in photos and videos. If I'm standing next to the car, you can kind of tell how small it is. But it's a little car, and it's fun. I love it. It's great.
It's a sweet ride. But we wanted to get more. Talon and I just like go for drives occasionally for fun, like carving the canyon roads and whatnot. And I kind of wanted to get into autocross. Talon's done some autocross in the past, just for fun. You know, this is just fun stuff.
Yeah, I would really love to get back into it. And I said earlier this year, I was like, I want to make an effort to be at home more. Like, don't do a ton of big trips. I'm still going to be traveling a lot, but I want to spend more time at home so I can enjoy time with friends and with Ashley and our dog. But I also want to drive the car, do autocrosses, do more stuff around Colorado because I've been all over the country time and time again.
Yeah. So I don't know. Talon shows a little bit more of his car and stuff on his YouTube. I don't show much of mine because of the backlash.
You have 8 to choose from.
I have a lot of cars. I just get so much backlash on anytime I do something a little different. People just like hate it.
What vehicle do you feel like you get the most backlash on out of your current lineup? GTR?
Backlash? Like negative backlash?
Yeah, just people like,
the GTR was actually received pretty positively. Like, people were really stoked for me to get, like, every once in a while I'll do a video that it to an outsider looks like I'm rich. Like, we'll pull one of two kind of emotions from the viewers of the video. The people that have kind of been subscribers for a long time, know me, like me, know, you know, I'm a good dude and I work hard. And that was with the GTR and when I did my like new barn, my shop.
Yeah.
And almost like I would say 80% of the comments are like, so stoked for you. Like, you work so hard. You deserve it. Like, this is awesome. Like, I would do the same thing. And then, 19% of them are just kind of normal comments. Oh, sweet, I've always wanted Earth. And then 1% is like, oh, must be nice, daddy's money, chump, whatever.
Yeah.
So the GTR was actually, when I did the video on it, like people were stoked on it. But I think if I were like, I'm gonna do a vlog of like autocross or like taking it to the track and racing it and stuff, that video would just tank. Like nobody would watch it.
Like I kind of was the same way. Like when I did a video of picking up my Supra, I had to fly out to Kansas to get it, and I like, as long as your emotion is natural, which I mean, we are the same people in person as we are in videos. You can't say that about every creator, but I was picking up my car and I like kind of laid out the story. I was like, listen, this is kind of like my realistic dream car. It's sub $60,000. It's fun. And I was like, genuinely still am very stoked to own that vehicle. Mm-hmm. And if it was just like, if you just went out and bought a GTR and I'm like, oh yeah, I've always kind of liked these, so I just bought one. Yeah. That would be different than you going, honestly, the GTR has been my dream car for a while, and I finally
similar story. Yeah,
I'm at a point where the opportunities have gotten me to here. Now I can get my realistic dream car and love it.
Yeah. So like a friend, like if I had a friend that was like that, I would just be like, so sick, man, like so stoked for you. Because mine was similar. Well, in some, the GTR has been out, the R35 has been out forever, but I have a very like concrete. Like I've always liked, I loved it right when it got announced. But I was a poor college student. But I was delivering pizza at the time, and I actually delivered the pizza. The first R35 GTR I ever saw in real life was a guy I delivered a pizza to, and it was in his driveway. Okay. And he must have been looking out the window, and I was just like, had the pizza, walking to his door, and I just probably, I was probably just drooling over the thing. I wasn't really paying. I was just like, oh God, so sick.
Here's your is that a GTR?
Yeah, and he came out, and he's stoked to. He was old, maybe in his 50s or something, like stoked to show it to me. He's like, oh yeah, and like opened the door. Actually, he was complaining, like, I paid so much for this. It doesn't even have rain sensing wipers. This piece of crap. So he was actually kind of complaining about it, but like stoked to show it off. And I was just like, rain sensing? Who? I'm driving a $1,500 car right now, dude. Yeah. But like, I'm not one of those guys where like, then I bought a poster of it and put it on the wall, and every day prayed to Nissan God that I would be successful. Like, not like that, but like I have a very concrete where I was like, man, that is the car that I want. And I finally was able to afford it.
What's the next car that's like that? GT3 RS? Or?
Yeah, I mean,
because there's obviously vehicles out there that like we sure would love to own, but are way outside of our price range.
Yeah, like now. I don't know. Like the GTR is the nicest car I've ever owned, and it's kind of too nice for me. I'm really like a not as nice car guy.
Yeah, you like buying used and kind
of... Yeah, I'm like a little bit beat up, a little bit used. That's fine for me. Like I don't take... Like the GTR I take pretty good care of, but I like dented it. Like within the first month, like I was putting on a new spoiler, like totally not paying attention, and lifted the trunk and it wasn't complete. Dented the car. I had like a tower of Pelican cases up against the garage. I don't know how they fell. And literally a Pelican case fell onto my GTR. And I was just like, this is why I can't have nice things. So like if somehow I came into a lot of money, right? Like won the lottery, like something like that. Yeah, I think I would probably get like nothing too crazy. Like I have no desire to own a Bugatti or anything like that. Yeah. But yeah, probably a GT2.
That's the thing. Like the stuff that you enjoy should always reflect like, well, I shouldn't say it should always reflect, but you can only enjoy things that you can actually afford. Like I would never want to stretch myself super thin to buy a car just because I'm like lusting after it. I want to make sure that I'm fine financially and then can afford it realistically without like having $1 million a month car payment.
Oh yeah. I'm not going to go into massive debt to chase a car.
Yeah.
Like I am very much a live below my means. But while we're on the topic, what are some, they don't have to be like crazy expensive cars, but what are some of the cars that you have kind of always wanted to own, even if they're cheap?
Wanted to own and have never owned?
Yeah, or wanted to own and have owned, like check that box.
Yeah, because I I wish I could have every car I've ever owned. It's just like something about it. Yeah, dude, it'd be rad.
Yeah.
Like, just something about like if I'm into a car enough to buy it, I may sell it in the future. But unless it's like a newer model of that replacing it, I'm always gonna miss it a little bit.
Yeah.
So
I'm kind of like you. Sorry, that I think you're the same way. Like, life is too short to drive a boring car.
100%.
Even when I was poor, I had like cool cheap cars.
Yeah. So my very first car, speaking of like cars that I have a high appreciation for, very first car, I was 15. I had my learner's permit and I bought I think I paid like $3,000, $3,500 for it. It was a 1992 VR6 Volkswagen Corrado. And we actually went and saw Gran Turismo, and in the like intro scene of that, they like go out and get in this car and they're driving a Corrado. I don't know if it was the GY6 or I don't know if it was the supercharged one or the VR6, but I was like, that's a Corrado, and I was like stoked on it. So love that car. I would love to still own it. And then I bumped up to a 02 WRX, the bug eye, which I loved. I paid like maybe $4,500 for that car. It had a ton of miles on it. And I drove that all the way through high school into college until basically I was graduating college. And then like I haven't had a ton of cars, honestly. I've had more motorcycles than anything.
I've had a ton of cars, man.
I know. I don't even want to ask you because we'd be talking about it forever.
No, let me real quick. The highlight cars, I guess. The highlight cars.
Highlight cars.
My first car that I owned was a Wrangler. It was manual. I wanted to learn manual. It's like an old kind of beater Jeep Wrangler. So for the people that think I hate Jeep, that was my first car, baby. Jeep Wrangler. And it was dope. I
guess I can see you driving a Jeep, but it's just like weird knowing you now. I
bought it like when I lived in Michigan, and then I moved to Hawaii. My dad was in the Army, and so it was a great car for Hawaii. Jeep Wrangler in Hawaii. Suzuki Samurai. First rig that I built, bone stock.
Yeah.
Full build.
That would be an answer to your question to me. What's a car that you would like to own but never have? I love those cars.
Ooh, I would love a Jimny, man. They don't sell them here, but Jimny's basically the new Samurai.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I like the old Samurai with like I don't know if it was the round or the square headlight. I don't know.
Yeah, but they're super boxy. They kind of look like a Defender 90 or something.
Yeah,
and
like
I had a hard top.
Like
one. It was hard top. That car was dope. I had some cool motorcycles, but the next cool car I had maybe was an RX-8 in college.
Okay.
And then I got a Land Rover Discovery, Series 1 Discovery. Not a Series 1, a Disco 2. Getting Land Rovers mixed up.
I can't even keep track of them because I've never like delved into that realm.
But that was dope. That kind of got me, like the Samurai got me into off-roading. The Disco got me into kind of car camping, overlanding. First new car I ever bought was a Volkswagen GTI. Turned me onto the Golf
Mark
R.
4? Or what year?
It was 2012. I think it was a Mark.
Probably a Mark
4. It was right before they got really bubbly and not nice.
The 5, I think, is when they started getting more bubbly.
I forget.
I like the Mark 4s.
Yeah. Anyway, that leads us up to basically the vehicles that people know I've owned.
Yeah. And like, I'm trying to think of another vehicle to answer that question of like what I would like to own. And like, I don't get super invested into a vehicle until I'm like ready to buy one. And anything that I have been interested in, like I eventually worked to a point where I could afford it.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about like if we went to a supercar convention, I wouldn't know them. I wouldn't know most of them.
No,
I mean, know the brand.
There's so many nowadays too, like just crazy brands that you'd hardly even hear of. But
yeah,
I think my next like realistic dream car would be a Porsche 718 Cayman GT4 RS. I just like the styling of them, and they're significantly more affordable than a GT3 RS or even a GT2.
Yeah, those are sweet.
Yeah,
I don't know. I would like to own like a Defender, like a D90 or maybe a 110. I'm not sure.
I do like the look of them, and they some of them sound insane.
Yeah,
they sound nuts.
That's one of those cars. Like this is where like if I just got money sitting around kind of cars.
Yeah.
But I've always loved the 300ZX turbos. I almost got one.
That's another. I love the styling on those.
Yeah, the styling.
I don't love like the newest generations of those, or well, it's a completely different car, but like
just the new Z. You mean
the 350, even like 370, and then the new Z. I think I mean great fun cars, like very comparable to the Supra, at least the new Z. But what is it? The 300ZX?
Yeah, 300ZX is a 90s car. Well,
didn't they use those headlights for one of the Lamborghinis?
Yeah, I think the Diablo.
Yeah. I love the front end of that car. That looks so sick.
Yeah, it looks so good. But they're getting old. They're hard to work on.
I have the perfect answer to your question. So what car would I buy? Any car can be affordable. People don't know this. I don't know. I've never really said this in a video, I guess, but it's kind of common knowledge at this point. Talon is my real name, and my parents got my name from the Eagle Talon. So probably in 1992. And they are tuner cars. Like people turn them into 1,000+ horsepower, like track monsters. And that would be super dope to own. Before buying the Supra, I was actually like searching around Marketplace and all these different places to see if I could find one, and I couldn't find one clean enough. But I think that will be a project for me down the line in the future. If somehow I can find one, I would love to own that car because that's literally what I was named after.
Your namesake.
Yeah. So now let me turn the question to you. Answer your own question. Like you're, how do I say this? Your interests are so kind of all over the place. I know you got like your own niches here and there, like things you would like, but what about like a sports car? Obviously the 300ZX, but what other car sticks out to you?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like the two, like Golf R, I've always wanted a Golf R.
Solid car. I kind of want to drive that someday.
Yeah. I have a Golf R now. It's 2017 MK7. And the R35 GTR was truly the car. Like if you were like get any car, I'd get something. It's $2 million car, so I could sell it and then buy a GTR and keep them. But like any car that you can't sell or whatever, probably a GTR. So that was the R35 GTR. I really like R34s as well, even though they're just kind of pieces of crap.
Okay.
But I don't. If you were just like, all right, snap your fingers in one car. Just because, probably a Ferrari F40.
Okay. So snap your fingers in any car. I think I was into McLarens for a while until my buddy got one and he tracked it and we autocrossed it and he had nothing but problems with it. He was like, absolutely don't buy a McLaren. And I was like, damn, I love the way they look. I think you could ask me this tomorrow and it might be a different answer, but I think I would love to own an Aston Martin someday. I don't know what kind, but I think that
like
is
the Vantages and the DB whatever.
DB9, DBS.
They're beautiful.
Every car, dude, even their like normal SUVs and stuff. No Aston Martin is really normal, so I shouldn't say it that way, but dude, they are beautiful cars.
You can get like what is it? When I was shopping, so for a little while, I was like, I want a car that's a little, I kind of like older car, like a little rough around the edges.
Yeah.
So I was looking like Porsche 944s, 300ZXs, and I forget, like one of the Aston Martins, the DB8s, or I forget which one, but they're coming down into a very affordable price range. The performance numbers are nothing great, but they're just beautiful cars.
I mean, if you really wanted to do it and you are into older cars, you can buy an Aston Martin. You could even buy some Ferraris that are older, still look great, perform better than any new regular car today, and it's definitely doable. I might go down that road at some point in the future. I need a garage. I need land. I need all this other stuff first.
A lot of things that can go wrong with those is the problem.
Maintenance. I was thinking about that driving this truck today. I was like, man, this thing would be really cool to own. Like very weird use case. But if I own something like this, the maintenance on buying tires alone, you're going to go through this. You're going to buy tires for your F550.
I'm looking forward to it, man.
Dude, you get a flat or like a puncture and you can't patch it, you're spending a lot of money for tires.
Yeah, and I'm gonna need to carry a spare because like tire shops don't carry those tires.
No.
So I gotta rig up some kind of a bumper system for a fifth.
So right outside of this window here, there's a full size spare, and there's a second winch with like a
That lowers it.
it's like a mount that you stick in the hitch,
Yeah.
and that's how you lower because they're so heavy.
Yeah, I lift some weights so I could probably handle it, but
I don't know if you could handle it when it's up above your
yeah,
head.
yeah. I don't know that I could. Like on a good day, maybe. I could. But you know,
Like-
if it's snowing out or something, then
Let it fall off and like bounce on the ground and like catch it. But
and there's no way I would get the other one back up, line up the lugs and everything. So that's what I'm not looking forward to developing, DIYing whatever system I'm going to need to for that for mine.
what are you thinking on time frame of like, say, like a 90% completed project of that? There's always going to be something else, obviously, but
So this is, I forget if we've talked about it yet in the podcast. I bought a 2011 F550 like party bus passenger van thing that I'm gutting and turning into a poor man's earth roamer is just the generic term for it. So I'll be doing a super single conversion, putting that on the Continental like 41-inch tires. I'm probably going to build out the interior first before I worry about tires, lift, suspension.
yeah, that's probably a good idea. And you've already started. You've gutted it.
I've gutted it. I haven't started building anything. I'm still kind of thinking about layout, what I want to do for electrical, how crazy I want to do. I want to keep it pretty minimal. I want it to be fully functional, probably on big wheels and tires by summer.
Okay. That's, I mean, yeah, you're at home a lot, so you should hopefully have time to figure that out.
It's not, I don't think it's one of those things where I'm just going to throw like 5 days a week for a month at it. It's kind of chip away here and there. But I'm hoping like 3-month timeline. But I'll be like building the barn, building out like my shop, like all the interior, installate, electric, and then I got all this other homestead stuff to do.
Yeah, dude.
I got to build chicken coops, runs, and all this other stuff this summer.
Your plate is just always full, and then as soon as something like building the house, like that's off my plate, let's buy an old bus and convert the whole thing.
I'm stupid. Yeah, I'm not the smartest. But no, I'm hoping 2024 is just another really grind on some fun projects that aren't super time sensitive.
Yeah.
But still have a lot of adventure. Like 2023 was shot for me, but 2024 I think I'll have a lot more free time.
Yeah, hopefully. And like I mean, I had time last year, but I packed it with a lot of travel and stuff.
You traveled so much.
I drove my van. It's not even a year old yet. I have probably 25,000 miles on that van. I don't even know how many miles I put on the truck last year, and then the Supra only has like 5,000 on it, but
my van that I've had for a year also that I think I got with like 3,000 miles has 7,500 miles.
Yeah, sitting right there. Haven't even had your first service yet.
If anyone's looking for an adventure van, Jayco Terrain 4x4, heavily modified, mine will be for sale soon.
Yeah, DM Mike, good
DM
price. Yeah, it's all yours.
Yeah. 10% off with code Talon.
Hell yeah. Referral code. Do I get a kickback from that?
5% off.
Finder's fee.
Talon.
Yeah.
No, I will. I'll give you a kickback.
Tell him I sent you.
Yeah.
Apple pay me.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So cars, we could have, I feel like this podcast may devolve into car talk.
I'm okay with
in
that.
In general. Like all of them.
But I mean, I'm sure there will be vehicle stuff. We can talk about gear and stuff like that, but I think we should jump into the reel you posted earlier and see what kind of questions some people asked.
So we want to be somewhat interactive with this podcast moving forward. Podcasts historically aren't super interactive because you can't really interact. But if you ever want to give us feedback or like give us topics or talk about like a guest you want to see on it, check out on YouTube. And Instagram, leave comments there and we'll check them out. So yeah, posted a reel, kind of asked, hey, comment some podcast stuff and we'll go through some.
Yeah. So while you pull that up, like Mike said, if you guys are watching on YouTube, jump in the comments. Let us know like your opinion on this stuff too. Because this is just two dudes talking about what we think about the new Tacoma. But I'm curious, like, are you on the same page as us? Do you understand where we're coming from? Do you absolutely hate us and think we're dumb for everything we've just said for the past hour? But I'm curious about it. And on Instagram too. We'll start posting some content there eventually.
All right. I'm just gonna kind of find some common themes here. Firearms on road trips?
A lot of firearm questions.
A lot of people, yeah. So Talon and I both have kind of backgrounds in the firearm industry. We both absolutely love guns, very pro Second Amendment. I own and operate a holster company, love guns, but we both just kind of got bored of them, like reviewing them. They're all pretty similar.
Yeah, it just becomes very overwhelming after a while, like having so many guns. I have had so many guns in my life.
It becomes very much a job, though, is the
Yeah.
thing. You don't know it. We're going to spoil it for you. We've talked to dozens of gun content creators, and almost all of them hate doing it. Almost all of them are so sick of guns, doing gun videos. Like, they're not anti, like, there's no secret anti-gunner gun content guys out there, but they're just bored.
Yeah.
All of them that we've talked to. They can't admit it to you because it's their livelihood, but we can admit it to you. It gets boring reviewing guns over and over and over again.
That's an absolute bombshell because it is so true. Like, we are friends with a lot of creators that, I mean, we used to make that content all the time, and that's super true.
Number one question I get asked by gun content creators is, how did you transition out of making gun content?
Yeah. And like for me, that question is so easy because I was never all about guns. I never wanted to be pigeonholed into, oh, you're the gun guy. Although it kind of got to that point when Sunday Gun Day got super popular. Baby. Yeah, it's just everyone loves it. And I'm appreciative for that. Like, it was a big part of my channel, but I never started my channel as a gun channel. That's why I moved all that stuff to a different channel. Like, I want people to watch my content. Basically, the main thing is I want you guys to watch my videos because you feel like you know
like
me.
Talon.
You like me as a person.
He's a friend.
If I'm your friend and I say, hey, this knife in my pocket, I really like it for these reasons, that holds a lot more weight than just some random guy like going out there and reviewing a million different things without having the personal touch behind it. Like, you guys see what I do in my kind of normal daily life, so you know where I'm coming from when I'm giving you opinions on gear and other things of that nature.
Yeah. But to answer the question, I guess, concealed carry, always. I carry a gun every day. That's always with me on road trips as well. And then I'm an advocate of truck guns, a rifle calibered truck gun. If you're going to put a gun in your truck that is beyond a pistol, don't put another pistol caliber gun in your truck because they don't penetrate through stuff as well. So I would say 300 blackout truck gun.
I'm a big 300 blackout fan, and I don't want to go into that topic too much because I'm going to plead the fifth, but I agree with everything that Mike said. And a lot of people ask me all the time, dude, as you travel around the states, blah, 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 like crossing state lines, know the local and state laws, know.
I definitely don't keep any guns in any of my vehicles.
No.
If you're wondering.
Yeah, I mean, I also don't do that either. I don't think it's smart to, unless it's like very locked up and secured, but
I may be being sarcastic. I'm just saying that to
no, I mean, I have too many vehicles. I legit don't keep like, I don't
Super can't fit one.
I could. It could fit. It don't fit a minigun in the trunk.
Okay.
No, I legit I do not do that because like right now I have vehicles sitting on the street somewhere.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't want them to get broken into, and
that's true. Yeah, I never go into the city, and I park mine in my barn.
If I parked in the garage all the time, sure, truck gun all day, but unfortunately, I can't do that.
All right, question about dad life. Maybe save that for another one. It's great. I love having a kid. It's fantastic. It definitely, if you're a selfish person, don't have children. But I'm only partway selfish, so I love it. What's a discussion about buying a daily driver that's also capable of light off-roading, driving, as well as ease of support for parts and getting the work done?
I think we kind of already talked about that with like the OEM Plus style. Is he talking about like an affordable or?
No mention of affordable. I think it's just like if you have one rig that's your daily, but you still want to adventure with it.
Yeah.
Tires, absolutely.
Yep.
A must. A little bit of recovery gear.
Yep.
And beyond that, it's really about what trails you're trying to tackle. Do you live in Florida or do you live in Colorado? That will dictate.
Yeah, if you live in Florida, you don't need steel armor for the most part. You kind of build the rig to where you live and what you're doing with the vehicle. So that could be a super long discussion, but it's super situational. So
yeah, like what we talked about, my favorite is a slow evolution. You like if you have a stock 4Runner, we'll just say, take it out and see what limitations it has and make your modifications based on what you feel personally, how you're using the vehicle.
And then you will get to a point where you go a little bit too far, and then the car or truck or whatever becomes a little less dailyable, and you will know when that happens. So that's why, like I said in the beginning, I like the OEM Plus phase of a car.
Talon, your favorite tattoo or least favorite? And why haven't you peer pressured Mike into any sick tattoos? How do you know I don't have any sick tattoos?
Mike might have super sick tattoos that you guys don't see.
Yeah, you don't know.
My favorite tattoo is my back piece, which is still in progress. I'll show you the photo. So I get tattooed a lot, which I don't talk about in videos. I made like one tattoo video before. You guys can obviously see my arms all the time, but basically my whole body is pretty much covered or in the process of being covered, and I have a huge back piece. And it's
a huge chest piece too.
Yeah,
and arm. Yeah, I mean your whole body.
Yeah, my whole torso is done. I gotta show you a picture of it though. It's gonna be sick, and I'll do a video on it on my channel at some point, just like a tattoo tour, because I get asked quite often.
I've actually been debating a massive back tattoo that I actually even put a deposit down with an artist and like started developing concepts and just haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
How do you guys juggle work and play? That's its own podcast, man.
Yeah, that's such a hard one. The summary I will say is that I work more now than I ever did, but it doesn't feel like it because I enjoy what I do.
Yeah. I think that the expression, find out what you love and you'll never work a day in your life, I think everyone knows that's a lie. You can actually kill what you love by turning it into a job. But there's always balance, and you will always have to work at something even if you love it. I absolutely love what I do. It is a hell of a lot of work that I don't always love doing.
Yeah, let's save that one for a future episode because we can talk about that for a long time.
Yeah, I think we should, maybe make a future episode that just kind of talks about what it looks like to do what we do. That's that weird comment. If you guys continue doing stuff side by side, you should change things up. If one does the other, someone does the opposite. I'm going to do whatever I want to do. And Talon's going to do whatever he wants to do. And if they line up the same, they're gonna. And if they don't, they're not gonna. Not a whole lot of what I do is based on, this is going to sound mean, and I don't mean it to. I'm not trying to please anyone. I do value what subscribers ask of me, and I do certainly take that into consideration, especially if it's in line with kind of stuff I already wanted to do. But if someone was like, if people were just begging me to do one thing and I didn't want to do it, I probably wouldn't.
Yeah, and like Mike said, like if you want us to do different things, I mean, we do different things in our own way. I'm sorry that we're good friends now and we have very similar interests and we both make videos, but we each have our own audience. There's a lot of overlap, obviously, which is why we're doing this podcast. But
the question wasn't a mean question, so I'm not trying to be snotty or whatever. But
yeah, and we'll just leave it at that, I guess.
Yeah, we're gonna do what we want to do, and sometimes they'll overlap, and sometimes.
But like I said in the beginning, I always stay true to myself. So like everyone is like, make Sunday Gunday videos. I'm sorry, but it's not on my priority list just because my priorities are elsewhere. I enjoy this, camping, being out with friends. I get more fulfillment out of these kind of videos than I do shooting on a range. Sorry.
On that note, I have been thinking about spinning up a gun channel, but I need to find a very convenient range to do so.
Better put one in.
Maybe in the future. This is going to be a tough question too. If you were not doing YouTube, what would your career be? We both had careers, if that's any console.
Yeah, they were both in IT. Whenever I do a podcast, like when I'm a guest, everyone's like, what'd you do before YouTube? And I've told this story so many times. I hate doing it, but I'll just say it here real quick. I was an IT consultant for like a Fortune 200 company for about 5 years out of college. And I will tell you now, I probably wouldn't be doing that exact job anymore. I mean, it's been years since I worked at that gig. Didn't like the corporate world. I probably, hopefully would have broke off and done my own thing, but I would most likely still be in the tech world if I had to guess, but it could be anything really.
Yeah, I was a web developer, started front end, eventually became back end developer, so wrote code for a living, which I really enjoyed. I don't think I would do it. I would, no joke. I'm in this weird, I tell this story sometimes, but I would probably do like some type of blue collar, like less mind intensive labor, like get on a framing crew or something. Like when I built my own house. Like I designed my house and built it physically with some help. I really enjoyed it. I just like to build things. So yeah. I might just find like some kind of blue collar job, honestly. Or if I could like make a living building furniture or something like that, I think I would like that.
I started working at like 15, doing a lot of blue collar kind of like manual labor stuff. I worked as a roofer. I worked at a golf course. I worked as a landscaper for a while. And it sounds really weird to say, but I actually don't mind repetitive work. So if it's like, say at the golf course, it's like go around, rake the traps, mow the greens, do this and that. I like having a routine. And
I like structure. I think that's the thing. I like to show up and know what I'm doing that day. YouTube is so much different.
It requires so much like planning, and you have to be able to change at like the flip of a switch. Like I'm on one call with one company while I'm filming a video, and then when I'm done, I'm editing and having a completely different conversation with another company. So you have to be really like malleable when it comes to doing your own thing.
Yeah, you're your own boss. You set your own schedule. You create your own agenda. You make your own video ideas. You set your own timelines. It's very like, it seems like ultimate freedom. That sounds so good. But I literally just want to show up to a job at 8 a.m. and have someone tell me exactly what I need to do. There's something to that.
Don't get me wrong. The freedom is absolutely incredible. That is why I do what I do. That's how I got into overlanding with like buying my van. I wanted more and more freedom. However, I often miss routine of like I don't even have a morning routine really.
I have no routine, and it's very trying on my soul.
It's hard, but if like you had to wait, I mean, you might be getting into a routine more now that like with Coop, maybe, like wake up, drive him to school. Maybe you got to get groceries or whatever. Like even just little mundane daily tasks like that, I don't really have. Which again, I'm not complaining, but I do miss.
Must be nice.
Yeah, must be nice, dude. Must be nice. Oh, you don't have to do anything.
But yeah, it sounds like sissy boy complaining, but I ain't afraid of hard labor, and in a lot of ways, it is a lot easier knowing what you're supposed to do in a day versus figuring it out all on your own. And yeah, woe is me. But still, seriously, probably I would go into a physical labor job. But we could talk about that question all day. How'd you meet? Been following Talon before he moved to Colorado. We met before he moved to Colorado.
Yeah, I mean, I living in Colorado is one of the shortest periods of my life so far. I've been here kind of like I've been in my house for 2.5 years, but I've kind of lived in Colorado for like 3.5 years because I was here in the van for a while, had an office. Mike and I met in, I think, 2016. It was before I quit my job. It was before you quit your job.
We've been friends for a while.
Yeah, so we were already making like similar-ish content on YouTube, and I was watching his like concealed carry videos from early on, and we met at SHOT Show.
We started talking like online through Instagram or something, but first time we met was at SHOT Show.
I remember exactly where we were too. That sounds so gay. Sorry. We were
lock eyes. We were across the room.
Down my drink while the rhythms boom. We met at the Vertex booth, which is rad because we were both working with Vertex at the time, I think, and we still do to this day. So yeah, we met at the Vertex booth at SHOT Show in I think 2016.
Vertex has been a great brand and friend of ours through the years.
Yeah.
What's up, Dan Gross?
Shout out to Dan. Speaking of that, you got your own custom duffel right there on the floor.
Dude, I do. Yeah, I've kind of developed into a slight product development role with them, which I'm stoked about. It's like it's a natural evolution of like you test enough gear and find crap that just sucks, and you're like, I can make this better, but I have no idea how to get into clothing design. So I was able to kind of partner with Vertex. They have all that, and I worked with their designer to put some key features into some stuff.
That's one of my favorite things doing what we do is like having like working for so long to a point where you have this reputation where companies hold your opinions to a high standard, and then it gets to a point where you can help develop completely brand new products or make actual changes to products, whether it's like a vehicle. Like I did some stuff like that with Storyteller. I'm testing this thing that we're sitting in. It's a prototype vehicle, so hopefully I'll give some good feedback and they might change some things on the production. But EDC gear and things like that. Like I love the collaborative effort of us who have immersed ourselves into the industry, and then these companies are like, hey, this guy knows what he's talking about. Let's work with him and make something rad.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense that we, as you know, some of what we do is like gear centric. We get a lot of companies that want to send us a lot of gear. Sometimes we accept it, sometimes we don't. I'm much more picky, like we talked about with the trucks earlier. Like I know what I like now.
Yeah, definitely.
First, there was a long phase of I don't know what I like because I haven't tried everything. So through the evolution of kind of trying a bunch of stuff, you really develop if a guy is like me and kind of is into what I'm into, this is really how you should make this.
Yeah. What's a recent discovery of like something new that you tried where you're like, hey, you know what? I actually really like this. Does anything come to mind when I say that?
Nah.
Not
for a while.
I know what I like.
I'm trying to think.
I'm trying to think too, because like it's
need to
interesting.
Let that one percolate a little bit.
Because we have tested so many different things across so many different industries. I'm trying to think if there's like something stand out where I'm like, oh yeah, I tried this recently and I really like it because whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying intermittent fasting.
Okay. How's that?
Sucks. Speaking of offshoots and tangents.
Yeah. Offshoot.
So I was kind of getting in. I've always been into fitness, like physical fitness. Like played sports forever, then worked out, and always wanted to kind of take care of my body and be strong.
Fitness pizza in your mouth.
Exactly. But never cared about what was going in my mouth. Yeah. As far as food.
Food, okay.
So pizza, snacks all the time. And I was kind of under this assumption that like, yeah, I'm burning a lot of calories, just eat all day, eat right before bed, eat when I wake up, eat 100 times a day. Not necessarily like bags of Doritos all the time, though You've
had your days.
I've had my days. But all the intermittent fasting studies and science of like, a lot of snacking's not good for you. You should have breaks. It's insulin spikes. And maybe it's just like I'm getting a little older now.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, okay, maybe I should focus a little more on health. Part of this actually was, this is going to be funny for a lot of you guys, Athletic Greens, AG1 has sponsored a handful of videos on my channel lately. And when they first reached out, I was like, AG1, man, it's cliche. They sponsor everyone, whatever. But then I was like, you know what? I actually kind of want to try this stuff out. And that kind of encouraged me to be healthier in general.
No, that's good. No, that's good.
So like, yeah, they've sponsored some videos. They sent some stuff. But I was like, I'm going to start taking this. But why just take this? Like, I should really start cleaning up my diet and just doing some things better. So that's something. This has nothing to do with what the question was really targeted at, I know.
No, but it's a good topic too, because like I did something similar recently. I went and got like blood work done because I don't go to the doctor. I really should, but don't. And I was just like curious. I'm like, what could I do to make me feel better? And I went and got blood panels done. And one of the things which was surprising to me, but I guess kind of makes sense, they were like, are you going outside at all? And I was like, yeah, I'm like outside a lot of the time, like probably more than the average person. And the doctor was like, well, your vitamin D levels are absolutely tanked. granted, it's winter time. I am, I guess, driving a lot, so I'm not like out baking in the sun. I have tattoos, so I try to stay covered up as much as possible. But they're like, yeah, your vitamin D levels are super low, amongst like a bunch of other stuff. So I started taking supplements to be like, hey, maybe I can feel better. And I've been doing it for 2 months now, and I legit feel way better.
Yeah.
Just like multivitamins. I'm doing like fish oil and red yeast rice pills. I'm doing all this stuff that I
could use code LOD and get some AG1 if you want to.
I
think that's my code.
Hopefully. But yeah, maybe I should try something like that. But like you said, I was like, I'm curious. Like I feel okay, but I want to know what it feels like to be at like my peak. So I've been doing that stuff, and I was like, well, if I'm taking these pills in the morning and at night, then maybe I should start like being more active, like on purpose, not just I'm going to go ski or ride mountain bike, which I only did once this past season.
Dude, it was a bad year for mountain biking for us.
So bad.
Next year. Well, maybe this year, 2024 will be better.
Maybe. I mean, maybe. If I'm in Colorado more. And
maybe.
But yeah, I went down the same path. I was like, I want to feel better. I'm getting a little bit older. So, yeah, I've been feeling good now. Been feeling healthy because of that.
That's good. Yeah, I sit out in the sun. I just soak it in. It's like part of the reason I built my house. Yeah, for real. Like in my house, 0 degrees outside, I'm just like shirtless in the living room sweating.
You get so much natural light, which is rad, obviously. It's why you built the house that way. So what we're saying is we're trying to be a little bit healthier.
We're health nuts now. This is a health podcast if you didn't know. It's going to be a health podcast.
Super big on the health. Hey, if AG1 wants to sponsor.
AG1, what's up?
What up? I want to try some.
No, I mean, it's good. It's that's the new term now isn't lifespan, but it's health span, right? Like the amount of years you have in your life that are actually kind of like usable and healthy years.
Yeah, and what it comes down to too is like it also relates to kind of prepping and like everything we've been talking about. Like I see so many dudes going back to the gun thing who are like, this training, that training, blah, blah, you're not holding the pistol right. And it's like, okay, dude, you are 150 pounds overweight. Like, sure, you may know how to shoot pretty well, but you got to be able to move, dude.
Yeah.
That's what I like about
movement is life.
Shout out to Mickey Shook, carry trainer. He's a great dude.
Yeah, I like Mickey, man.
He's very into the fitness side of things, and he will ram that down people's throats. Like, hey, you can shoot a gun as good as you want, but if you're super overweight and you can't run a mile, like, you're not making it very far when it comes to like the time.
Anything.
Anything really, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, doing what we do, even like setting up cameras, hiking around the mountains and stuff, like just being in high altitude all the time. If I was less healthy than I am now, like it would be significantly more difficult.
We're professional athletes, basically.
Pretty much.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
No, but like, being fit, being able to run, like sprint across a parking lot, that's important.
It really is.
Strength is important. There's all kinds of studies out there of strength. Like you will get injured way less in a car accident. You will recover faster. Like your body is very literally more resilient the stronger you are, and to a certain point.
I don't even feel like I should be talking about this, but 100% agree. And also it's better for your mental clarity too.
Yeah.
Which like sounds so cliche, but
endorphins and stuff.
When your body feels better, your head's better too. And like that's what I care about. Like your mind will hopefully be the last thing to go. So you got to keep that thing running as much as possible.
What an offshoot.
What an offshoot.
What an offshoot.
What a good name for a podcast.
Man, that was a good name for the podcast.
Yeah.
We got to make a logo. We got to like
intro, outro music, maybe.
Figure out what pictures we want to use.
You got to figure out what do we post on Instagram. Just it'll be like a joint Instagram of like, hey, we talked about the new Tacoma, so here's a picture of
we
the
need
new
to
Tacoma.
Find like a little editor guy that like chops up interesting parts of the podcast and puts them into like 15-second shorts and stuff.
I get hit up by editors all the time, like little freelance independent people, and then like bigger companies who are like, we're so-and-so, and you should be using your content for TikTok. So we'll give you...
People from India and the Philippines and all that stuff.
We'll give you a free trial. We'll cut up one of your videos and make you some content. And I've never replied to them.
Never, yeah.
But...
for the podcast, it makes sense. More sense, maybe.
Yeah, like if we could be more hands-off with the actual work side of things.
if we have like 15-second clips that are fun enough.
I don't know if we have clips. We'll see. Maybe there's a clip out there.
This would be a nice evolution.
Is this the clip? Are you guys watching this on Instagram and TikTok right now? Crazy. Probably not.
Offshoots.
Subscribe.
Oh,
Smash
man.
that like.
Oh, yeah. Podcast length. Oh, this is another one of those things. If you're watching this on YouTube or Instagram somehow or wherever, you can leave a comment. Let us know, like, podcast length. We're shooting, I think, for like 1 to 2 hours is probably what we're going to try to jive on.
Yeah, most podcasts I listen to, generally, they'll do like a hard cut at an hour, typically, which I could go either way. But I think definitely an hour is good length for it. You can get some good discussion in. And then if it goes...
Yeah, maybe if we have a
3 hours,
guest on, we like be a little more mindful of their time.
If it goes naturally for a long time, cool. Like, whatever, let it run.
Yeah, it's fun.
We'll see. But we're basically asking for your feedback out there. So if you're watching on YouTube, please drop some comments. Let us know.
We're here for the people.
We're here.
We're going to talk about what we're going to talk about, but having more ideas is great.
Yeah, we're here for a good time, not a long time.
Maybe Q&As, like, more often. I feel like people like Q&As.
Yeah, Q&As to me, like, they just become super repetitive. But occasionally, like, if there's a lot of feedback, there's some good questions that it's like, oh, yeah, I kind of do want to talk about this because I find it interesting. So,
yeah, I don't mind it. You know, we can ignore the ones that we don't feel like talking about.
Yeah, just the repetitive stuff, but...
Yeah. Oh.
Cool.
It's been fun.
Did we do it?
Yeah, we got to figure out how to edit it.
Yeah, we're going to dive into some artificial intelligence.
We're gonna put, how exciting, the first episode of the podcast. The first episode of 10,000 episodes.
Whew. Lofty. I like lofty goals.
10,000. No.
All right, 10,000 divided by 52 weeks a year.
Maybe 1,000.
We're going to have to do the podcast for like 10 years.
10 years, yeah. Yeah, 10 year podcast. I bet there's podcasts out there. Yeah, there's podcasts that have been around for 10 years. Yeah.
Like, and I love doing podcasts if it's somehow like if we found our groove and it became like an actual thing where we could turn it into a business thing, and I don't want to say like profit off of it, but if we could make it worth our time.
Absolutely. Like I think I'd keep doing YouTube, but I would probably, if we could do a weekly podcast and live off of it, that would be the dream job.
Yeah. One of my favorite podcasts, the dude started as a YouTuber, and now he does a YouTube video once a month, maybe. And it's podcast weekly, Patreon, with extra episodes, like
Patreon.
Yeah. I dig it. Maybe we would do that. I don't know. I don't even really
give us ideas in the comments below.
Yeah. Let us know.
I don't. I'm a bad Patreoner guy. I don't have much value to give.
I don't either. I give early access to videos. I have an exclusive Discord where I like post, like I posted a little photo of my studio setup, and I talk to those guys regularly.
Yeah.
And it's open to the public too, if anyone didn't know that. But
yeah, I do like a monthly live. I've actually slacked for a couple months, and I feel tremendous amount of guilt for it. So I need to catch up on my lives. Sorry if my Patreon's watching this. I'm gonna play catch up. But I enjoy it. It's like, I call it kind of my therapy. So it's patrons only, and I just do it on YouTube, a live stream. And
kind of like a podcast. You sit down and talk for a while.
Yeah. I mean, and it's a little interactive. It's like live. So I answer questions as they come in.
Yeah.
But it's really like behind the scenes. I talk about, I'm real, like emotions, and this month's been really hard.
Yeah. The stuff that we don't put in YouTube videos.
Yeah. You just see everything good. Now, I'm pretty real in YouTube videos, but more real in Patreon. Just because it's like raw, like real time.
I'm pretty real in videos, but I'm way more, obviously, more real. Like, I'll talk about that stuff in person, even if it's like a subscriber. Like, I've had conversations with people, say at like Overland Expo, like, dude, I love your videos. And they like start talking about some stuff. If I'm talking to you in person, I'm going to tell you stuff that I don't like purposely avoid saying in video, but I'll be way more open in person.
Yeah.
You just have to be a little bit careful with some things that you say, especially related to your personal life on
I don't give
internet.
people my social security number in person or anything like that.
No, it's probably not a good idea.
No, but it's just different in person. It's interactive, obviously, so they can ask you questions and you just answer on the spot, whatever.
Yeah, I like we're slowly approaching expo season. I think my first like event is a storyteller van thing in April, Adventure Van Expo in Scottsdale, Arizona, if anyone is going to be in that area. But yeah, it's upon us. We got Loveland and
Yeah, that's May. It's a while out.
And the first one is Flagstaff. That's in May.
Yeah.
Loveland is August.
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to do Pacific Northwest and not East unless like...
Let's have a reason.
Yeah, I'd have to have a really good reason to drive all the way out there, but we'll see. Maybe. I don't know.
Well, new Tacoma will have... My Tacoma doesn't have adaptive cruise. Does yours? Yours probably does, yeah. Yours has to.
Oh, I don't know. Oh, my current truck?
Yeah. Your current Tacoma? Does it have adaptive cruise control? 21? It has to.
I think it does, but I never use it because I'm re-geared and cruise control just sucks when you're on 35s and everything. It just hunts. Even with the tune, it's not good. But yeah, it probably does. The Super has it.
Yeah, adaptive cruise control is nice. The GTR doesn't. Dinosaur.
The van has it. I bet this has it too.
This has it for sure. Yeah. All right.
I guess we did it. Well, if you guys want to find me, I'm on YouTube at Talon Sci, Instagram, Talon_Sci, I guess TikTok and wherever else, you know where to find me, or sciproductions.com. You can find me over there too.
Yeah. Last Line of Defense on everything. Last Line of Defense, one word, Instagram. Last Line of Defense, YouTube. LLOD.us is my website if you're looking for a holster or anything like that. Thanks for... we need like a sign off.
Use code Talon Sci on LLOD.
Yeah,
save money.
Use code Talon Sci on LLOD.
I think the steps just retracted in.
Steps. Yeah, I was making some weird noise in my headphones.
Yeah, well, that's all for this first episode. Thank you guys for listening and watching, for those of you on YouTube, and we will talk to you in the next one.
And don't forget, always take the offshoot.
I like that.